So today we have. I think this is our first public webinar for the year at Song Africa. My name is Chinonso Clark, and I'll just go ahead to talk about what we do at Song Africa. Song Africa is a non-profit organization with a vision to equip young people in Africa with the skills and character required to influence and deliver successful government in Africa. Since we started this non-profit organization, we have organized various events both in Abuja, in Kenya, in Aberdeen, UK, and we've been able to work with over 3,500 young people, inspiring them to live with a mindset of transformation and of transforming their communities and nations in Africa. We also have various programs that are targeted to equip active and aspiring public office leaders. And we're saying that we can, from where we are, we can actually start, getting involved in projects, getting involved in programs that will go a long way in contributing to our development as a continent and even as a nation within the African continent. Today, we have our webinar, and our topic is preparing for 2023 elections. We know that a lot of things are going on in the political atmosphere at the moment. There's a lot of agitation. We know that the Sorosoke gang, they're doing what they can do, and everybody's just watching and looking at how the next year elections are going to play out. And so today we're really excited to have young people. I'm going to call everyone who is on this panel, we're all young, who have experience both in the political space, working with INEC, also people who are passionate about our country. And our hope is that we can share, even for people who are going to watch this session afterwards, because we're going to upload it on YouTube, practical steps that we can take as young people to participate in the elections, even for people who don't, as much as we talk about getting your PVC, for people who don't have their PVC, what are the practical steps that they can take, to ensure that they participate in the next elections and fulfill their civic obligations. And so I'll just go ahead briefly to introduce our speakers for today. I will start with our very dear Honorable Fatima. And Honorable Fatima, not to bore you, but she's a staunch supporter of women and youth development, and she founded the Female Rebirth Assembly, an NGO focused on grooming reformed women. She was an active student unionist during her university days. She took up leadership as vice president and member of the legislative arm in the Oyo State Student Association. In 2019, she was appointed the committee member of the Youth Presidential Campaign Council for 2019 general elections, and she's currently the APC senatorial women leader for Oyo South Senatorial District, and we're so excited to have her today. We also have Mr. Ayodele Okunfolami, who is a skilled statistician and an economist with a proven track record of success in public administration and resource management. Through his work with INEC, he has provided exceptional operational support in areas of data management, contributing to improvements in electoral management, regulatory compliance, and best practices. His work with politicians, political parties, and security agents has ensured zero incidents of violence in any election areas he has covered. Neither has any election he has covered been cancelled, and that's a phenomenal report, if you ask me. We're also excited to have Mr. Abiodun Oleide, who is currently the co-founder and the CEO of Riverbank Partners Limited, an emerging Pan-African digital banking and lending platform. He has distinct competence in trade, finance marketing, fixed income dealing, both local and international. Aside his core corporate practice, he's passionate about leadership, nation building, policy formulation, and governance. And so we're so excited to have everyone here today. And for us, our goal really is that more people will watch this as we put it out, and they can learn from the insight that everyone is going to share today. So as we kick off, my first question will go to Honorable Fatima, of course, ladies first. So tell us about your journey, right? How did you get, it's important for people to know how you've come to where you are. You're involved, heavily involved in politics. I've, gone online, read about you, read about your journey. But it'd be good for people to hear from you. How did you find yourself in this space where you're heavily involved in politics, even as a young person? And what are some of the challenges that you think that you've had to face to get to where you currently are?
Okay, good morning once again. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
So thank you for saying ladies first. I like that. Okay, I'll try to cut it short because it's kind of long. From my days in Ife, 200 level precisely. So when I got admission into Ife, I was practically young then because I'm still 29 at the moment. I got to Ife and what I met was read, read, and read. It's either you read or you don't survive. It's just as bad as that. Ife is all about book, 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 and book. It's as bad as my first day in Ife, the first night I spent, I had to go to night class. I just resumed and okay, I don't even have any notes, but people are going to night classes, so I have to go try to complete my notes. And so for every Ife student, then I don't know how it is now. Is the CGPA? You keep chasing the CGPA, chasing it. You have to be in upper. You have to be in this. So for my 400 level, I got that upper. I had 2-1, it's high and all that. We got into university with stories. We had stories of the last person that had a first class in your department was 40 years ago. He's your lecturer, these stories. 200 level, we started again, marathon. Okay, my 2-1 must be higher. It must not come down. At the end of 200 level, I had to sit myself down. My thinking is it just book? Is it just book? Eventually, I will graduate. I'll go for NYSC, and I know what is happening in Nigeria. I'll just come and sit down. Is it not necessary I build myself in other aspects? And what really came to my mind and what I noticed I enjoyed doing then was attending. There's this NAOS meeting, National Association of Oyo Students. We have the association within school. I like attending the meetings. Okay, and at that moment, the leadership was faulty. Then there was call for if you want to contest, come and contest. And also, I decided to contest. I started from there. I started from them practically. So I contested for vice president. I saw that it was just in me. I liked it. I liked the activities. And it was an extracurricular activity for me. So it just kicked off from there. From there, I was recommended to contest for the national level, whereby I was the only female in the executive in the state. You understand? From my school level then to the state level. So that was how, one thing led to the other. Once you're in that position as a student, you are fighting for students' rights. You are the representative body for students in Oyo State. I had to represent students in some areas, like visiting the governor, visiting top people. It's kind of became my life. It became my life. I had access to these corridors of power. So when after my NYSC, just shortly before I completed my NYSC, it was during Ramadan, just like we are now. We went to eat iftar with the late Governor Abiola Ajimobi. It's a culture. He invites different bodies to eat iftar with him throughout Ramadan. So, and he was like, "Are you this girl? You're always within the boys and you're always doing this." I said, "Oh, I'm no longer a student. I'm now doing my NYSC." He said, "Oh, after your NYSC, make sure you see me." I was thinking, okay, I studied education. Maybe you give me one teaching job, or maybe a lecturing job somewhere. That was what was on my mind. But after my NYSC, I tried my best to see him and said, "Okay, I've completed my NYSC, sir." And he said, "Okay, I knew you through student struggle. You are always coming here saying I've not done right for students. So I want you to come and serve. I want you to come and serve. I want you to come and be in that shoe so that those students will come and face you and say, this is what we need, this is what we need. Then you report to me." So that was how I became his essay on student affairs. It was a very tough one. It was the first time they will actually give a woman such position in the state. The former essays before me, my predecessors, they were all men, and they had a tough time managing even as it is that they are men. So there was this uproar in the state that a woman, what if all these students go on rampage? How will she manage them? All of that. So I ran the office for a year, 8 months, till the end of the tenure. So to summarize it, I just noticed it has become my life, because this is not the first time I will get this question. People ask me that you're a woman and you're young. How come? How did you get into this mix, this political mix? This is where I found myself, and this is my life now, and I have to forge ahead. In a bid to forge ahead, then the party congresses came. We lost my godfather, Governor Jimobi, but I believe he has instilled in us, in me, something that can make me stand on my feet and survive with or without him in place. So I thought I needed to forge ahead. And that was how, when the party congresses came, we lost the election in Oyo State. The PDP is now ruling. So things went down a bit, although we still try our best to see each other and hold meetings here and there. But it can't be as good as it would be if we were in government. So when the party congresses came, party congress is when we will have a new leadership in the states, in the party in the states. So I thought, okay, let me throw my scarf or my hat in the ring. Let me do this. I feel like I should become the state woman leader. It sounded ridiculous, you know. Firstly, the post of the state woman leader, people kind of feel it's reserved from some old women that are not really educated, that have been in the party for a very long time, that are elders. They feel it's reserved for them. So, it's just like challenging the status quo when someone like me came out and said, I want to become the state woman leader. I actually contested for the state woman leader before I emerged as senatorial woman leader. It was a very long journey, longer than the period that it took to contest and campaign. It looks really long. But here we are today, the senatorial woman leader of Oyo APC. So I would not like to take very much of your time. I think I've been able to summarize my journey. But as the conversation goes, I think I'll still chip in some. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Fatima. That's a journey. I can't even imagine some of the challenges that you've had to face as a woman in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go ahead to ask Mr. Abiodun, do you think we have enough youth in government, and how can we get more young people like us? I mean, yourself, Mr. Ayo as well. How can we get more young people involved in government?
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, good morning, everybody. Uh, I mean, it begs the question. We clearly do not even have both the old and the young. We do not have enough participation. We just have a very few. So it's like when you say, inequality in terms of distribution generally, but it's worse with the younger people because they've grown to see a state that politics ordinarily should just be, or governance generally should be for a few elites, right? And it's something that has been a bit transgenerational because we've had this going on for over 25 years. And no thanks to the military era that stole, a good chunk of our, post independence story. So, what do we need to do to get the youths more engaged in governance? I think we should break it down further. I am coming. I hope I won't be digressing too much, but I am coming to speak more outside of the youth, to speak to the conscience of the average Nigerian, because I believe that even our older folks are not doing enough. They're not doing enough. What we have is probably, I don't know the percentage, no statistics to back it up, but I'm certain that actual participation is very weak. But what we need to do to get the youths into the party is a combination of many things, if you ask me. I think we need to keep engagements ongoing, things like this, fora like this, where people need to be conscientized The new syndrome is that everybody just wants to get out of the country. And I tell people that where you are going to, at the very best, you are still a second-class citizen. At the very best, because you don't talk like them, you are not exactly one of them. So we need to ensure that we fix this nation together. So what we need to do is more of engagement, moral suasion, because it's a sad story. It's a story of people who are hungry. You know, when you are asking people to make a choice between the book and the bread. I'm hungry and you're asking me to think about books. It's unlikely to work, which is why you see the likes of, you know, the political thugs take central stage. I want to assume that it's not natural for them to just want to disrupt, peaceful processions and whatnot, but it's just that they are hungry, and anybody that offers them 5,000 naira is who they pander to. So we need to come together, people who have some semblance. I pity the middle class a lot, because the middle class have this false hope that we are okay. You know, the middle class who can afford things all for themselves feel that we are okay, things will get by. I mean, transformer is fault, I have my inverter, I have solar panels and whatnot, but the issue is deeper than that, because you cannot, your shared prosperity cannot go past the prosperity of your geographical location. So if you go today, you buy a brand new car, maybe a Mercedes and whatever it is, and you cannot press a button and make it jump off maybe Ikorodu that is not, you know, tarred. You still have to drive through the same Ikorodu that is, that is not tarred. You cannot suddenly say, okay, people who are coming to kidnap, they will see a sign on your head and say, okay, this one, don't kidnap him. And I'm as sad as it seems, I'm actually happy that some of the precipice of the bad governance of the past, they are beginning to crystallize, and we just need to see that this mess is the political elites, they are not safe. And if the political elites are not safe, how much more people like us who are just ordinary citizens? So if there is nothing to be to charge us as call for action, it is just the fact that this thing can only get worse. I do not believe that things hold stable. I believe it's either things are disintegrating or improving. So even though things appear the way they are, we are experiencing worse realities than we had some 10 years ago, some 4 years ago, and it will continue if we do not come to salvage it. It's going to be collective. I honestly do not have the answers in terms of what we should do other than engaging ourselves and being deliberate about civic, responsibilities. Let's know the first step is we need to get our PVCs. That's like the kindergarten stage, but we definitely need to get, PVCs. We claim that, okay, the old system is, the feudal system is to serve the likes of Honorable Fatima, who are already in the real, but that's not, it is true, but that should not make us give up. It is true. It is already, even before the elections, it's already rigged. But I tell you that if your votes do not count, they will not be paying an MC Oluomo or whoever it is to go and rig your elections. If really and truly your votes do not count, that means these votes do count. So what do we need to do to get ourselves into this? But remember, I talked about the book and the bread. So the man who is hungry, you ask him to go and do grassroots politics. It's tough because this guy needs to make maybe daily income of maybe 1,500 or whatever it is that will keep him going. And there is really little time to focus on the grassroots or to even say, where are they doing it without wanting to steal money? So it's such a case of, okay, I'm going there to get my share of the national cake. And that seems to be going on and on. So I enjoy, to be honest, I respect people like Honorable Fatima, people like yourself, and all others who are actually, raising the ante, getting involved directly, because that's the only way we can get out of this quagmire. It's really a messy situation. There is no one cap fits all solution, if you ask me. I just feel first, the kindergarten step is everybody get your PVC ready. Then we can, to be honest, I think 2023 is dead on arrival for me. So this conversation is more of the future. I'm sorry, I'm changing the script, but it is the reality for me. But are we better off in terms of conscientizing ourselves than we were 6 years ago? The answer is a yes. The answer is a yes. So I think without just coming to reel out all the problems and whatnot, I feel that we are on the right path. However, we are grinding too slowly. We need to get some quick wins. We need to first cross. You see, the battle is a matter of the mind over matter. So the battle has to be first won in the mind, that we can bring the glory days back. I'll be 41 in a couple of days, and ask myself, it's the same old story my parents had told me growing up in the 80s, that I am experiencing even worse than, So what am I telling my kids? What am I telling them? Why should I tell my kids that there is so much hope in this country if we cannot even demonstrate, those of us who are adults already, if we cannot demonstrate that, yes, this country is not as hopeless as we say. There are some whimpers there and there, but yes, we need to do a lot more. I think I will stop there for now. As we go further into the conversation, if I have other thoughts, I would definitely. So I'm going to be a bit scattered today, but it's just the way I struggled to stick to this topic, but Aisha said I will come nonetheless.
Thank you. I like that you brought different aspects to this conversation, and I think the ball is now in Mr. Ayo's court. Here, Mr. Abiodun has talked about salvaging the situation, and he spoke about let's first get our PVC. What are other ways? I want you to touch on getting our PVC. Let's talk about the process of registering for that, so that people who watch this later can understand, okay, your vote actually counts. If they're paying MC Oluomo, like Mr. Abiodun shared, then it means that our vote counts. So please, Mr. Ayo, touch on the voting process, the registration process, the voting process, and then other practical ways in which we can salvage the situation in our country at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, I'll first talk like an INEC staff. I'll talk like a political analyst, which I'm also one, and I also talk like a Nigerian. First of all, as Biodun has said, we need to get our PVCs. That's the least we can do. And it's not about getting PVCs. For example, as at the end of 2019 elections, we had in INEC register, we had about 84 million registered voters. 84 million. But the turnout of the elections was about 30 million. So it tells us that it's not PVC that's the problem. In INEC offices scattered all around the nation, some and for local government, we have uncollected permanent voters cards that people have not collected. So you just register, you don't collect. So register, collect, and vote. So that's it. Now, INEC has been doing continuous voter registration. We began since June last year, 2021. It will be ending in June 2022, so that the voters register for 2023 elections will be ready constitutionally by November of 2022. So if you've not registered, please go and register. We are starting the 4th and final quarter of registration on Monday, April 11th. Go to the nearest local government to you. If you need to transfer your voter's card between a polling unit to another polling unit or a different location to another location, you registered in Ibadan before, but now you want to vote in Ile-Ife, or you registered somewhere in Ibadan, but you've moved to another place in Ibadan, or your name changed. You were formerly Ayo Kufolami, now you are Mariana Ayo Abiodun. You want to change your name. There are provisions for you to make changes. Or your permanent voters card, it has your face is no more showing. You can come for a change of it. Whatever you want to do, please do it now. Don't wait for the last minute. Don't be like those that did not register their SIM and they are blocking their SIMs now. Don't wait for the last minute. Do it now. We've been on it since 2011. And if you've got your voters register, your permanent voters card, and there's nothing wrong with it, no problem. You don't have a reason to change your voters, your polling unit. You don't have a reason to change your name. It is valid. Present it on election day and vote. Now, with all sense of humility and modesty, INEC is the most improving government process style in this nation. I can say that for free. I'm not saying because I'm a server INEC, we keep improving our services to the people. Are we perfect? No, but we keep improving. Now we've been using it since, we just made it legal by law through the Electoral Act. Vote always count, and they keep counting. As Biodun said, if your votes don't count, they will not be buying your votes. They will not be bringing 5,000 naira on election day for it if votes don't count. Votes count. Let's get this thing out of our heads. Vote counts. Let's not sit down on election day and be watching television. Votes count. So let's have it at the back of our mind that votes count. So now there's going to be an electronic transmission of results. What does it mean? From as you vote on the polling unit day, the result of the election is sent immediately to a central server that is open to everybody. So that is it. So let's get ourselves involved in the electoral process. So that's what I can tell everybody listening, whether you're a youth, whether you are an adult, whether you're a senior citizen. Let's get ourselves in. And unfortunately, Nigeria is gentocratic. What does that mean? We are governed by older people. Ideally, Biodun that is going to be 41 in a few weeks' time, they shouldn't be regarded as the youth anymore. Ideally, seriously. But because we are still having the 70s, the 60s, so we are supposed to be middle age that are considering ourselves as youth. Ideally, we are no more youth by every definition of who a youth is. So once you are 40, you are no more youth. But because of the way Nigeria is, we still consider ourselves small boys. So, but be that as it may, I just want to touch on youth participation in politics. I think, and I think Honorable Fatima will bear me out here. The truth is this: we have youth in the political space in Nigeria. Check House of Representative, House of Assembly in every state. A lot of commissioners are a lot below 45 years old, below 40 years. So it is not as if youths are not there. I understand what we are looking for. It's not as if youths are not there. Youths are there, but we're not getting the results we want. And that is why not just getting our PVCs, democracy is not just about elections. Elections are a critical part of democracy, but it's not the only part of democracy. I consider elections like a bath. You take your bath, but that's not all. You still have to towel, you still have to wear your clothes, you still have to comb your hair, you still have to rub your cosmetics, you still have to do all other things. And that is where the participation has to continue. Be demanding of those you have voted. But if you don't vote, you don't even have the moral right and confidence to talk. So please get your voters card, get them ready, know your polling unit, and look for the candidate of your choice and vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. Thank you so much. I'll go back to Mr. Biodun. What he's talked about the other aspects of democracy, and I know that you're very passionate about governance, democracy, and I want you to touch on those other aspects, the practical things that we can be doing. Yes, we've talked about registering to vote. We've talked about collecting our PVCs. We've talked about actually voting. So those are three pillars of the when it comes to voting during voting in a democratic country. Now, what are the other practical areas? How can we hold our government accountable?
Yeah, thank you. So let me quickly, before I dive into that, let me quickly do some add-on to what Ayo just mentioned regarding the fact that youths, it's not as though youths are no longer, or they are not present in governance today at all, even though we feel the tallies are still weak. The reality is, in fact, I have a few friends who are, in government. And what I hear is that these guys are even worse, armed robbers without guns. These younger people. So the real question should be for me that I don't care how old you are. I just want to be sure that you have the competency required. I just want to be sure that you have the vision to drive leadership. I just want to be sure that you are mentally fit and physically strong. I don't care how old you are. If you like the 90, I honestly don't care. Just be sure that you have medical certification that, yes, you are okay, you are mentally fit. Because we've seen, 40-year-olds, 35-year-olds who have stolen money. So I just thought to, mention that. So in terms of holding, what we need to do beyond the getting our PVCs and becoming better citizens, I think it starts with everybody being conscious of the fact that you don't have to be in leadership to make your own difference, to make your contribution. You do not have to be the one to be voted for you to make that difference. First thing first, we need to appreciate, and it has to be a mental rebalancing, that these guys that are in government, we pay their bills, we feed them, we clothe them, we give them. It's like someone has hired me to work. They are my employees, and they are responsible to whatever we ask for. So this notion of, oh, His Excellency, I hate when I hear those words, to be honest. Who is excellent when you have stolen all our money? So we as citizens are not being proactive, activism, kind of, say going violent, but I'm just saying people need to know that the leaders are not any better than the left. We are on equal pedestal. We just got them to represent us and drive, the office on our behalf. So what do we need to do? And it's not that easy, to be honest. It goes back to the book and bread, analogy. So we still need to infiltrate a few, like Honorable Fatima, and more people, who genuinely have the act to serve. We are not saying they should not be paid. We should get paid. But this, excess money, politics, game playing, everybody talks about restructuring of Nigeria. And I love the way Professor Patitome put it, that the definition of restructuring is nothing outside of you saying taking money away from politics. What stops the senators from just having sitting allowances when they sit, and let those allowances not be more than our minimum wage? If the minimum wage per hour today in Nigeria is 10,000 naira, and if they are sat for 10 hours, let them collect their 100K and go, if they are sat only once in a month. All this nonsense, votes that we give to them, 13 million, 15 million, all of them would run back if that is the reality. So now, how do we hold the government accountable? We still need a few people who are, who have the good of the nation at heart, to be the ones on the inside to now tweak some things. I love what happened recently. Was it like a month or two ago that we had a new electoral act, passed into law? But I think there were a few things that should have stuck out for me. Why are you giving INEC the discretion of choosing whether it should be manual or it should be electronic? Scrap the manual damn thing. And we argue that, okay, yeah, there are areas where there's no internet penetration and whatever. I believe there are USSD codes. The average Nigerian today has a phone, whether it's internet enabled or not. So I want to assume that we still live, we move 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. We love it. We love that we have passed the Electoral Act. At least we know that if any INEC official says the results were announced under duress, we can cancel the results. Now, we know there are a few good wins. But what we are saying is the average Nigerian has to first choose to come to the party. That this thing is ours together. A Fashola, a Sanwo-Olu, a Buhari, or anybody is not any better than an Abiodun Oluyide. Just that they've been put there to represent us. We should not deify them. We should not see them as superhuman or better people. What we should respect is their contribution. So that mindset shift has to happen first, before we even now go into, if I see the honorable governor, whoever, whatever we call them, if I see the person and I first have to stand in awe as a journalist, I have lost the battle of asking the right questions, speaking truth to power in the first place. So we need to first demystify that and see that, okay, these people, they are just one of us, not any better, and holding them accountable. I wish we had a situation where people, what stops us from having the budget thrown out? I remember MKO Abiola, which is one of the sweetest manifestos or election campaigns I've seen in my life. And he said during his time, whatever NNPC sold daily production, daily sales of petrol would be published openly. This was far back in 1993 or 1992 that he made those promises. Why can't we have those things? Then we'll know where to now hold people accountable, how to ask how our money is being spent. So there are so many things. If we try to, we'll just be here, we'll speak all the English. If we do not have the people in power, some of them, like Honorable Fatima, wanting to make a difference and genuinely driving things that would help us, giving us expos in what direction we should go. Otherwise, we just have academic things that worked in America that can never work in Nigeria. And we'll try and blindly import them, but they are unlikely to work.
Yeah.
I know I've said many things. I deliberately have not spoken to the heart of, imported thoughts, because they are not going to work if we do not have some of us in the field. So I think it's going to be a build-up. You remember the last conversation we had? I said it's a marathon, probably take 20 years. So what I think is this, right?
Yeah.
We would have loved to be able to move faster. But unfortunately, our reality is that we cannot move faster. So now, as we keep having the likes of Honorable Fatima, more and more people, hopefully maybe we'll get, in whatever shape or form, we'll get a Peter Obi, maybe not the president, or somewhere, that stature, that resume, that competency, wound in one person, maybe in the Senate, that will change some things around. And when those things now happen, we would now begin to see how much better we can move in terms of getting more and more people in the field. But I tell people, you cannot possibly win a lottery that you didn't buy the ticket for. So you definitely need to start at the kindergarten stage of getting the PVC, what Mr. Okunfolami already mentioned, all those things. Then the next phase will be getting involved in governance itself. Doesn't have to be that I want to go, I want to vie for office. No, it doesn't have to be. It can be that, okay, these are candidates, you want to support this candidate. Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun. I think my next question will go to Honorable Fatima. So we've talked about political leaders, and thankfully you are one. So please give us some expo today. What are the challenges, that you see political leaders have, and why is it that they seem to be ineffective? What do you think is the problem, and what do you also see as the individual, apart from the collective problem of ineffectiveness, right? You interact with different leaders in the political space. What do you see as the individual challenge, so that we sitting on the outside, we can say, okay, these are some of the challenges that they're facing, and maybe in our own sphere, we can come up with solutions that can, affect the challenges that they face within the political space.
Okay, thank you. I have tried to jot some things down.
Okay.
Mr. Abiodun and as Mr. Abiodun and Mr. Is he still online? I'm trying to check.
Yes, Mr. Ayo, he's Okunfolami.
Mr. Ayo, yes, as they were speaking. Okay, so I would like to react to some things. before I go to challenges. But as I move on to, I'll try to pick out some challenges at the same time. So I think there's something important we should be talking about, and I think it is love and loyalty to our country. We are not passionate about our country, and that is why we have spent, out of the 4 years of governance now, we have spent more than half of it convincing our citizens to go and collect their PVC. And some of these people that even have their PVCs, they have disenfranchised themselves, because on election day, their polling units, the polling units where they can actually use that PVC is not close to them, and they will not bother to go there maybe a day before or find a way to be there. The love and loyalty to the country is on a zero level. People are not passionate about Nigeria. I do tell people I've never traveled out, and I'm not obsessed about it. If I was, I would have gone to Dubai, gone to this. And I used to say it all the time that even if I'm to travel out, all this jackpot syndrome, it gives me headache. If you all jackpot, that means the country will stop existing. But the problem is that where you are going there, you always not be their citizen, no matter what. Collect, you will collect whatever you want to collect, the green passport, the red passport, you will not be their citizen no matter what. So the love and loyalty, we need to start preaching it. The reason America is unique is not because America is perfect, it's because its citizens love it and they sing high of it. They talk high of their country, which we don't do. And then we start your talk about politicians, calling them their excellencies and all that. The reason Nigerians feel the urge to worship politicians extraordinarily is because they have sold their rights to these politicians. And the reason these politicians work freely and they are big agbada and the confidence is because they know that they've bought these people. They spend huge amount of money for election. If you cannot actually gather millions of naira, or let me say $1 billion naira in a room and light it off, burn it off, you cannot be a politician in Nigeria. So if we don't address that, we cannot solve the problem of these people gallivanting over us. I'm a politician, so I know what I'm saying. Then their huge salaries was also mentioned. Their huge salary, and the reason no solution has been provided to it up to now is because corruption has eaten too deep into our system. It's really more complicated than what we see on the surface level. If one man stands up today and say, I'm not corrupt, I want to be a different man, I want to be this, the corruption will still change him into a corrupt person. That's how complicated the system is. Even if he was to even pay with his life. So I do say this, people say we are always talking about God, but with what I've seen, the situation of Nigeria, it can only be God's intervention. It's eating deep, it is complicated. It is one thing, it is overlapped, it is one thing after the other. Even people that want to do better, politicians that want to do better, they have reasons they can't do it more than what they are doing. Unless they was just, you see some people are just observing. They don't want to join them, but they can't change it, so they'll just be observing. I have examples like that. And then, government is very complicated. It's a room after room something. I know I've met governors that want to do better for their states, but there's a way they actually emerge as governors. They actually threaded a path to become what they are. They belong to a political party. They owe an allegiance to that political party. They want to satisfy politicians that worked for them. And when they get to government, they want to say, okay, I want to compensate this person with this, I want to compensate this person with that other thing. These people, they are compensating. It's not necessary that they are quality people that will bring the change we need to our state and our nation. But they were the ones that were there, that worked for the politician. They are the people that are actively involved, that participated, that faced the war, because at a point, politics can be a war. These are the people that faced the war. And if a politician actually has a second term bid, he wants to consider these people that fought the war with him. You understand me? Although we have few politicians that are technocrats, that will appoint technocrats into positions. But the disappointing thing is that I have examples of people that come from the abroad and they appoint them into governance. And the ideology, the mindset they bring is that let's come and pack money. Because even working abroad is not easy. So that's why I said that these things are complicated.
Wow, she's still, I don't know if she's still here. I think we've lost her. I feel like she just dropped a burden on all of us. Okay, you're
Oh,
back.
okay. So the
Yeah.
politician that emerged, he has leaders that he swears loyalty to before he was able to emerge. So our political system, we've made it too cumbersome. It's too cumbersome, such a way that for us to get the benefits of governance, for us to get the results we need, considering the situation of our country, is difficult. So, as I said, politics, it's murky waters. I tell people, come and get your hands dirty. There are a lot of bad people in politics. There are a lot of good people, but many good people will have refused to participate. That's the problem we have. If you want to participate, you get your hands dirty to and see what change you can make. Because it's just bit by bit. You project a change, I project a change, and we bring it together. Then maybe we'll have a better country. That's the way to go. Then we have youth. Recently, we've had youth coming up to participate. We have youth in appointive positions. We have we have this kind of notion recently whereby they said, let's project the youth. That's why people like me can emerge. You know, when I came out to contest women leader, a lot of people were against it. Ojawolo joined. She just joined. Omo Kekere ni, how will she control the women? How will she do this? But for the fact that we are saying not too young to rule, the not too young to rule bill has helped. They say, okay, let's start projecting youth. That's why they consider these things. But let's now ask the mindset these youth, many of these youth, the mindset they bring into this office. It's not all the youth. Some of these youth still have the mindset, these old people that are not bringing us anything. They still have that mindset. They still bring it into this office. Only few youths come with the modern mindset, the mindset that will change our country. Only few youths have it. So those are the challenges. So I think I've mentioned two challenges. If you have youths on board, what's the mindset of these youths? That's number one. And I think I feel the urge of we youths need to support each other too, so that we have more of us on board. At least if we can chase out these old people, then we'll know that the war is in front of us and we'll see the people that are not doing the things they are supposed to do. The second challenge is that um, corruption has eaten deep. The third one is poverty. The reason many people can't tell politicians you are doing this thing wrong is because the poverty is in the land and they want to eat. They will not say the truth. They will not say it. So I think it all falls back to how our country is operating and how it is at the moment, the economic situation. We understand that it's a global thing, but I think it is bad in Nigeria. It is bad. And I have a feeling that maybe soon, maybe we'll start eating each other. Like something I read. Bere is a very local area in Ibadan. And Bodija is a sophisticated highbrow place. They say that àwọn Bere, the children in Bere that you have refused to train, they will start disturbing your children in Bodija. They will start infiltrating your space. So I think it's as bad as that. And as I always say, I think the good people, the upright thinking people, should not consider how dirty it can be. Frustrating the political space. We should not consider how frustrating it is. We should try to participate for the love of our country. And then NGOs like Song Africa and other NGOs, we talk about leadership a lot. We should talk about how people should become passionate about Nigeria. The things we even project in our movies. I believe that the American movies we watch, what they project there is not it's not as perfect as what they project, but they just want you to see a good America. That's why they project it that way. So I think we should start preaching as much as possible. I think it will take a lot of convincing. people that please love your country. It starts from there. I believe it starts from there.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
challenges in politics can be as bad as people telling me, I want they are witches, they will do this to you, they will do that to you. I said, the witches in my family growing up, in our family compound and all, till I grew up to this time, they've not done me anything. So it's now that I feel the urge to lead my state in things like this. That's when the witches will come. Please, let's forget. We've gone past this. We've gone past it. I don't think it is as bad as that again. So I think these are the things we should keep telling people, really.
Wow, thank you so much. That was very insightful, really, really insightful. So I think that we will start wrapping up, but there's a question. I have one question. Is how can we, for everyone, this question is for every one of us. How can we start changing the mindset of people? So changing the mindset of young people who are going into politics, changing the mindset of also the regular citizen, because the regular citizen, there's a certain mindset about politics, the mindset of I go into Ghana, chop everybody, to chop for my family, to chop for myself. How do we start changing the mindset about leadership in government, and also we as citizens? Everyone, please, I would love to hear from everybody. Maybe Mr. Ayo, please go first, since you're in that space.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll answer your question. How do we change the mindset? But let me quickly say this. Voter turnout. One of the reasons why voter turnout is poor. Okay. We've looked at many reasons. INEC has introduced new polling units. We used to have 120,000 polling units all around the nation. Now we've brought in new polling units. We now have about 180,000 polling units. It's so that the polling units can get closer to you. So when assuming you registered in a place far away from your house before, we brought a polling unit closer to you. There are places that have changed. For example, let's take places like Redemption Camp, for example. Now, Redemption Camp was not existing at the last population census of 1991. Now we've created polling units for them. So please ensure that your polling booth is close to you, a place you can reach before election. Please do this. You have between April and June to do it. Please don't wait till the last minute. So that's what I have to say. Then Abiodun mentioned something concerning electronic or manual. Yes, INEC is going fully electronic. Forget the argument of at the discretion of INEC. INEC has been doing, and Honorable Fatima can bear witness to this. INEC has been using electronic transmission of results even before the Electoral Act was passed. That's what we use in Edo election, that's what we use in Ondo election, that's what we use in all the by-elections that we've conducted. We just needed a legal backing for it. However, it is not electronic voting that is the problem. The problem is a lack of trust in our institutions. When our institutions are trusted, I was part of the elections in the United Kingdom in 2019. They voted with pencil. It was not electronic voting. 2019, I'm not saying 1919, I'm not saying 1960. 2019, the election that brought in Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister of Great Britain. They were using manual voting. The major reason is because there's a trust in the system. Even if we use electronic voting, nuclear voting, micro voting, if you don't trust the system, we won't believe in the system. So the major thing is less trust. Moreover, with Yahoo using computer, what system can be breached? So the major thing we implore Nigerians, I know we've suffered a lot, but we need to trust the system. I know where we are coming from, I understand, but let's trust the system. Our votes count. Then, let me quickly say this. Instead of youth, yes, as much as I want youth to be in power, we've looked at different ways. That's where I agree with Biodu when it's talked about, it's not about the age of the person, there is the results that matter. So youth, instead of asking for youth to be in power, why not ask that whoever it is, whether it's 90, 40, 60, whatever his age, why not demand youth-related things? For example, education. For example, sporting equipment. For example, employment. That is what youth need. If you have a youth that is there in power, it will just be symbolic and you just have a psychological relief that a youth is in power and your needs are not met. Why not demand, come, we need education. If you're like, be 60 years old, be 90 years old, we need power. Then we need education. We need employment. We need sporting facilities to be able to have a recreation. Then I will say this. There are 4 things. They are interwoven. But let's not mix them up. Now, number 1 is politics. Number 2 is election. Number 3 is democracy. And number 4 is governance. They are interwoven, but they're not the same. Election is the least of our problems. Democracy is not Nigeria's problem. Neither is politics Nigeria's problem. Nigeria's major problem is governance. So let's know where to channel a lot of our angst. It's governance. The people that we put in power have not done what we expect them to do, and that is why your votes are very important. So again, you said, what can we do to ensure that we create a change? I think that was the question I was asked before I lose track. Let's continue to participate. Let's continue to demand what we want. Let's not lose sight of focus. Nigeria is a country that needs constant power supply. Let's make our leaders remember that. It's not whether you are Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa, whether you are Christian or Muslim. Let's demand it. Nigeria needs good roads. Let's demand it. Nigerians want to sleep with both eyes closed. They want to live in a secure environment. Let's continue to demand it even after they are sworn in May 29 or whenever they are sworn in. Let's continue to demand water to run from our taps. We must not all be using pumping machines to get water. Let's continue to demand it. And that is where our real participation is going to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I like what you talked about, clarifying between politics, election, democracy, and governance, because we tend to just, mix up all of it together. And we hope that more people can come into...
I'm sorry. Let me just really say, sorry, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm very sorry.
No worries.
Free and fair election is not the same thing as good governance. That a child passed a fair exam does not mean he will do well in the next class he has been promoted to. It doesn't mean he cheated to get there. That an employer came in through a free process of interview and employment doesn't mean he will do the job. So let's not mix bad governance and relate it to election. And as I was saying, for turnout of elections to be good, we employ Honorable Fatima and our colleagues in the political class. Give us good candidates, not candidates based on tribalism, ethnicity, our sentiment. Give us an MK Abiola on the ballot. Give us an Awolowo. Give us an Nnamdi Azikiwe. Give us an Ahmadu Bello and see whether there won't be turnout of elections. Whether people won't come out. Give us the right candidate, not people that the only way they campaign is by the marketing their opponent. Give us a visionary candidate in everywhere, whether it's Senate, whether it's House of Representatives, whether it's governor, whether it's president, whether it's House of Assembly. Give us great candidates and see whether Nigerians will not come out to vote. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. Mr. Abiodun, please take it from there. Visionary.
I think I have spoken to so much in the heart of the matter, to be honest. So I'll just say this, that beyond the whole of this, we also need to go back and do a bit of let's have the psychology of the mind for the average. So when Honorable Fatima was speaking, she talked about how bad the situation is and all that, and I cannot agree more with her. I tell people, I don't care what the name is, at the risk of blasphemy, give me Jesus Christ to rule Nigeria today, as is. Nigeria will not work. So I think we need to now go back to the other day. I talked about nature, nurture, how we can now look at how are we nurturing, how are we allowing the society, the external environment to nurture kids in primary school. There's so much work to be done, and I am not sure the people in government or in governance, I'm not sure they appreciate so much of this. And I know that Unfortunately, we are at a place where we do not even have enough resources to even now, the rationing consideration is worse now, it's tougher, because for them, they still need to buy the bulletproof cars because of the money they have stolen, and they are scared that they cannot walk freely. They can't join the public transport because the public transport cannot even, there is even none. So we need to now go back and look at children in primary school and start giving them the right dose of what makes a good citizen. At some point, I heard they took out history. I don't know if they brought it back into our, secondary school curriculum. I don't know if that's been brought back. I know that there is this lip service on citizenship, a civic education and citizenship in Nigeria for secondary school curriculum. I don't know if that goes into primary school. We need to get those guys at the cradle, 6, 7, 8, so that they don't get the impression that, what do you want to be in the future? I want to be a politician. Why? So that I'll be rich. Because, that's the only thing that probably guarantees that you have money. So that's the additional thing I thought to put out there. It's bad enough that the youths or people post-secondary school into mid-20s to the 30s, the mind, and you cannot blame them, the mindset is so warped. Because, so my boys who have left school, they didn't get anything doing. Even some of them had decent grades. And what's the problem with that? Because we sold ourselves the dummy that everybody needs to go to the university. Whereas you don't need the university education to make a decent living. You just need to have decent skill sets. How about bringing back our technical schools and all that? So you need a visionary leader. You need someone who just has the patriotism, like Honorable Fatima mentioned. You need to have that patriotism, and it's not going to fall on you because you need it. We have to work for it. And a part of it is people like Song Africa, platforms like this that are already doing this. Just that we are so big, we are really, really big. So as we are trying to penetrate with people on the internet and all that, there are people in the north who do not have access to internet. There are people in hinterlands, Oshogbo, wherever, those names of places that they do not even have power, and we still need boots on ground. We still need people who will be like the ambassadors for a better Nigeria. How we now get those things done, I honestly do not have the answers, but I know that we need to go down to the grassroots and preach patriotism, preach, good citizenship, civic education to these people, step by step. That is very, very important. I agree perfectly that governance is a major problem, but I also feel electioneering process can be a lot better. I hear, Ayo, that people are voting, even in America, wherever. America is the longest democracy in the whole world, so we like to make reference to America. We have multi-voting structure. That's what we are saying. We should be able to, if I'm scared of an NCO threatening me at the voting booth, I should be able to vote on my internet without going there and watch and see whether you won't see about 2 million Nigerians return home. I hear Elijah, Honorable Fatima, when she said so many people came back, the diasporians, and they had a mindset of stealing. I agree. The same way we even have so many youths today in government that are already stealing, or they have the mindset of the, sharing the national cake. But that should not give us a case of, oh, it's hopeless. We still have so many people who are willing to serve this nation for free, with their intellect, with their skills and all that, but they are not going to come in this madness. So if I have an election that allows people, it's not just that I must go and kill for, hours on ending. So there are things we can do better. And this is a message to Mr. Okunfolami on INEC, stream, that it can still be better. We are not saying we do not appreciate. I don't know what statistics you had or what data that INEC is the most improving government parastatal. Well, in the city of the blind, the one-eyed man is easily passing as the best. I agree, and this is not passing the ball. We are just saying we are demanding more, and it starts with us not being defensive, but us taking diverse opinions from people who are looking at you from outside and saying there are things that can be better done. We love the fact that money can be disbursed to INEC at the latest a year before election starts, so that the man at the managing that will not pander to what one politician is wanting or the other. We love the whole of that, but what we are saying is there is more to this mess, because it's not just, it's a bit unfair when we say, okay, people should just go and vote, get voters card. It's a bit unfair, to be honest. Our people who are ordinarily meant to be responsible people, but they cannot even feed their families. And you now start pushing the story of go and get PVC without, giving the bigger picture. That, okay, look at how bad things were before now, but we've seen that, okay, now election results can be passed electronically. We are making certain progress. I'm almost certain that by 2027, God help Nigeria, I've almost given up on the next 4 years, but I'm almost certain that by 2027, we are going to see new waves. We are going to start seeing results of the progress we've made in terms of, how, elections work. We are going to now see that, okay, people who actually don't have money, why should I go and look for 20 million because I want to contest for a post? How many people really have 20 million without getting a godfather? Yes, we can crowdfund. We hear that a lot. But so I'm hoping that by 2027, these things will work better, but we definitely need to take the message to the grassroots and focus on the younger generation, so that we even don't want to assume that, okay, the people who are older now, we've given up technically, but let's not lose the 8-year-olds, the 9-year-olds. Let's try and redesign, their nurturing, so that they will not find themselves in a worse Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Hello, please. Can I say something?
Yes. Please go ahead as we
wrap
up. Yes.
Okay, I know we are wrapping up, and please, I don't want to see it as a back and forth between myself and Biodun. No, in no way. But let me quickly say this: INEC is working towards electronic voting. However, when I said that election is the least of our problem and governance, Nigeria is bedeviled with a lot of infrastructural mess. We just heard again that the power grid has collapsed again. How do you want to do electronic voting that way, Biodun? The countries we are even admiring are not even doing electronic voting the way we are preaching it. So let's appreciate where we are and don't mix. You mentioned electioneering. That is where I put on that politics. It's not INEC that fixed price for presidential ticket for 40 million naira. And moreover, it is not only PDP and APC that is contesting. There are 91 other political parties, for crying out loud. Why are we so as if it's only PDP and APC? Why are you comparing? No, there are other political parties that are giving their country. Honorable Fatima will agree with me that women are even giving free pass in a lot of all these political parties. So, and even if, I'm just being the devil's advocate, even if it's 40 million, even if it's 10 million, if people really want to, he mentioned crowdfunding. It's the same thing. People can crowdfund for you. They raise money for elections, even in America that we're talking about. Yes, let's not mix up Nigeria's problem with INEC's problem. Nigeria is working, INEC is working with, do you know how much we are budgeting to get generators in every registration center? We have over 20,000 registration centers, so we need to buy over 20,000 generators. Is it the situation you want to do electronic voting? You mentioned correctly that some interland do not even have light. They don't have internet. How will we do electronic voting? So that is the intention of INEC. And that is why we are appealing to the ruling class. Give us electricity. Give us good roads. Give us security. Give us water. Give us the basics of life. You'll be able to vote from your house. But we have to work with what we have. Thank you.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. I was trying to get so that we wrap up. We hope we'll put this on YouTube by Monday so that more people can watch it, because that's really the essence of this conversation, that we can get more people to hear all that has been shared today. And to be honest, I've been more educated. I've been better educated today. I understand some of the challenges that are there. I've been able to distinguish between politics, election, democracy, and government. I really like the fact that Mr. Ayo touched on that, and then I also like the fact that Mr. Abiodun spoke about the fact that we need visionary leaders. We need visionary leaders. So thankfully we have Honorable Fatima back with us. So Honorable Fatima, I would ask you how the
Sorry. Hey, sorry. I don't want to take over this program. I don't take over this program. France is going to the polls today. Let's see if they do electronic voting. You can watch it, please. They are going to elections today. So let's see if they do electronic voting.
Okay, we will. Okay. So Honorable Fatima, please, I think you should. The last thing I would like for you to touch on is, one, how can we change the mindset of young people? Two, how can we restore hope in Nigeria? How can we encourage more people to be patriotic? You're passionate about Nigeria, I can tell. So how can we get more people thinking like you?
Well, sorry, I got cut off. I had a lot of
Yeah.
calls I'm avoiding. So I think we need reorientation, and as Mr. Abiodun mentioned earlier, we need to catch them young. Maybe the next generation will be better than ours. So I
Have
think
you
civil.
given up on our generation? I don't think she I don't think she heard me. We lost her again. Oh my goodness. Oh, we lost her. So while we wait for her to come back, Mr. Abiodun, please, I think you should touch on that while we wait for her to come back. Is she back?
Yes, please. You mean whether we should give up on the
Yeah, well, should we give
the
up?
current youth?
How can we? Yes, and how
No,
can we
we
restore
definitely can.
patriotism? Really, how can we make more people patriotic about Nigeria?
Uh, we just need to keep, the engagement ongoing. It's a marathon, and you. It's a very tough,
It's so
it's
tough.
it's really tough.
Yeah.
I must tell you. So you have people who it's tough, but I believe that the average Nigerian, even people who travel abroad, they love the country. The only problem is that they've been made to see a Nigeria that corruption is the norm. So it's more of reorienting ourselves, more of reorientation for those ones. For the guys in uni and all that, and it's just to ensure that the conversation goes on and on. We need to look at. I love what happened recently, that pastors are beginning to get uncomfortable with the mess, because those guys are power blocks, and the imams, I want to assume they too more and more would come out, because if every Sunday, every Friday, you gather together and someone is telling you why you are failing yourselves by not being, patriotic, by not wanting a better society for yourselves, then it's a good takeoff point. So the ones who are in school, it's easier for kids in primary school because they are still a bit malleable. So I think churches, our social organizations should be a veritable avenue to explore. We are not saying they should lie. We are just saying, okay, make it an integral part of what you are selling, because that's the only way. You can only have a church because it's a Nigerian church because there is a Nigerian, nation that is working. By the time things scatter, nobody cares whether whatever you are XYZ church or you are ABC mosque. So those guys, we need to partner with them and get them to do a lot more. Like I said, I must appreciate few of them, the Adefarasis, the Bakares, most recently the Adeboyes. We need more people. We need more people. And the Sheikh in Abuja, we need a lot more of those guys to speak up. And of course, we as individuals also in our private places, we need to make that difference. If we claim we know more or we believe much more in the nation, we need to demonstrate it in our action, which is why I tell people that, yeah, it's a bit borderline hypocritical. So people who are leaving the country and they say they still love the country.
Well, they love the country from afar. They're loving the country from afar.
Right? So it's borderline hypocrisy, but I don't blame them. What I just say is, in your little space, make sure you still come, and there are people looking up to you. There are certain people that would hear you, and because you have said this is the way to go, they would follow you this way.
Yes, and they'll be inspired.
Yeah, exactly. So we just need to ensure that we do that. We are deliberate about it, and just keep it going one by one at a time. Over time, we'll get. We claim we are 200 million people. I don't know whether that's true. But
and listen, you said it's a marathon, so we'll just keep
a marathon. Yeah,
we'll just keep running. So one
luckily,
last word.
The honorable is back, so maybe I can.
Yes, honorable, please give us one last word, though. One last word, so that we can wrap up. We really wanted to hear from you. One last word before we wrap up. Yes.
Sorry, I got cut off again. The network. So just as Mr. Abiodun said earlier, also he mentioned that the mindset is that you become a politician and you become rich. I think we need to start telling people that politics is not actually like a profession like that. It's a call to service. And it's just like a civic responsibility too. So even if you're a politician, you need to have your work, what you do. It's either you're an entrepreneur or you work somewhere, if possible. But we should not solely depend on your politicians. That's where the problems arise from. So someone that doesn't have anything doing normally, doesn't have a profession, does not have a business, does not have a means of survival, why should we elect such person? We should understand it that this person will actually depend on our resources to survive and probably be greedy about it. So when electing people into power, we should look at their antecedents, and we should also preach it to people that they should consider these things. Mr. Ayo mentioned that we should give credible candidates, tickets. Firstly, left to me, I think we can't have people like Awolowo again. No. Well, maybe they are somewhere hidden and they are not coming out to contest, but it's really difficult to say that we'll get people like Awolowo again in this our political scenario. Maybe generations to come, or few people that are really determined about changing something in the present generation. So I think it really lies on sensitization and reorientation, and we should project it individually. We should project it ourselves. That thing we want to preach, it should show in us, and we should be seen as a person of we should be seen as credible people. It all starts from there, bit by bit. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think this is a good place for us to close out. She said that we should actually portray what we're preaching, right? If we're talking about believing in Nigeria, then we should also, as individuals, portray a character and portray disposition that actually believes and hopes in Nigeria, and also portray values and character, and patriotism, for Nigeria. So we will take the call to action that everyone has shared. We will go in our own space to reorientate, to continue to sensitize. We'll continue to hold conversations like this, as an organization, a non-profit organization. We're just hoping for more funds because it's difficult, but then we're trusting that, with the support of people like yourselves, like you're able to join this webinar and take time out of your busy schedule. We hope that we're able to continue the work that we're doing. So we'll say a big thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you so much, Mr. Oleide. Thank you, Mr. Okufolami. And thank you so much, Honorable, for taking time out today to really share. And this session was really educative. I'm sure that everyone who has been part of it would, attest to the fact that they've been educated today, like they understand some of the issues that we're facing. So we'll share this link on YouTube. We'll share it with you once it's uploaded on our channel, and we hope that we can spread the link for more people to, watch and understand some of the challenges we face and how they can, implement solutions. So thank you everyone for joining today. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
You too.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right then. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right then. Bye.